On a night when the world was busy with lights, songs, and celebration, heaven remembered why Christmas had come in the first place. Snow drifted quietly through the streets, settling on rooftops and sidewalks like a soft reminder that even silence has meaning. The city glowed with decorations, yet beneath that glow were countless hearts weighed down by loneliness, regret, and hunger, souls unseen by crowds, but never unseen by God. For Christmas was never meant to be only a celebration of joy. It was the announcement of hope entering a broken world. Long before the first carol was sung, before gifts were wrapped or bells were rung, God had already chosen humility as his entrance. Jesus Christ was not born in a palace but in a stable, not surrounded by wealth but by straw, animals, and the breath of the cold night air. The King of Heaven arrived not as the powerful expected, but as the desperate needed. And this truth echoed through every generation that followed. Christmas is God stepping into poverty, pain, and darkness to redeem what humanity could not save on its own. That same truth was alive on this Christmas night, centuries later, in a city that looked prosperous on the surface but hid deep suffering underneath. Among those suffering was a man named Thomas. He had no family waiting for him, no warm table, no gifts wrapped in bright paper. His coat was thin, his shoes worn, and his hands cracked from years of labor that never seemed to lead anywhere. Life had dealt him one hardship after another, until hope itself felt like a luxury he could no longer afford. Thomas had once believed in God as a child. He had listened to Christmas stories with wonder, imagining angels filling the sky and shepherds kneeling in awe. But adulthood had been harsh. His parents died early. Work was unstable. Illness came without warning. One loss followed another until faith slowly slipped away, not in anger, but in exhaustion. He did not curse God. He simply stopped expecting anything from him. On this Christmas Eve, Thomas sat alone on a bench near the edge of the city. Snow gathered on his shoulders as if the night itself was claiming him. Around him, people hurried past with laughter and warmth, wrapped in coats and companionship. No one noticed him. No one stopped, and he did not ask them to. Somewhere deep inside, he believed his story no longer mattered. Yet Christmas has a way of reaching places the world ignores. As midnight approached, church bells rang in the distance, their sound carried softly through the cold air. Thomas closed his eyes, not to pray, but to rest. He was tired of surviving, tired of hoping, tired of remembering a faith that once burned brighter. And in that stillness, something stirred. Not a voice at first, but a presence. A warmth that did not come from the body, but from somewhere deeper. When Thomas opened his eyes, he was no longer alone. Before him stood a man clothed simply, his face gentle yet filled with a depth Thomas could not explain. Snow fell round him, but it did not cling to his robe. His eyes carried sorrow and compassion intertwined, as if he knew every pain Thomas had ever buried. Fear rose for a moment, but it faded quickly, replaced by a peace that felt unfamiliar yet deeply right. The man spoke, not loudly, but with a clarity that silenced the storm within Thomas's heart. "Do you know why I came into the world?" Thomas tried to answer, but his throat tightened. The man continued, "I came because the world was cold, and humanity could not warm itself. I came because people were lost, and no road led them home. I came because love chose humility. In that moment, Thomas understood who stood before him not with his mind, but with his soul. This was Jesus Christ, not as a distant figure in stained glass, but as Emmanuel, God with us. The same Jesus born in a stable, who walked among the poor, who touched lepers, who ate with sinners, who wept with the broken. The same Jesus whose birth Christmas celebrated, and whose purpose extended far beyond a single night. Thomas fell to his knees, tears freezing on his cheeks. "Why me?" he whispered. "I have nothing to offer. I have failed. I don't even know if I still believe." Jesus knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I was born among the poor so that none would believe poverty separates them from God. I was born in the dark so that none would believe darkness has the final word. Christmas is not about what you bring to me. It is about what I bring to you." And Jesus reminded him of words spoken long ago. "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor, to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom to the captives." These were not poetic ideas. They were promises fulfilled in living flesh. Thomas felt something break, not in pain, but in release. Years of bitterness, shame, and despair poured out in silent sobs. Jesus did not rush him. He had never rushed the broken. He had waited centuries to enter the world through a manger. He could wait a moment for a wounded heart to open. You think Christmas is about joy because the world teaches celebration, Jesus said softly, but heaven knows Christmas is about rescue. I came as a child so humanity would not be afraid to approach me. I lived among suffering so none would feel unseen, and I would one day carry all pain upon a cross, so no one would suffer alone again. Thomas remembered the cross, then the story he had avoided for years, because it hurt too much to believe such love could exist. Jesus continued, the manger was the beginning of salvation, not the end. Christmas points forward to the cross, and beyond the cross to resurrection. I was born to die, and I died so you could live. As Jesus spoke, Thomas saw his life differently. His losses had not erased him. His suffering had not disqualified him. He was not forgotten. He was sought, just as shepherds were chosen over kings to hear the angel's announcement, just as a poor young woman was chosen to bear the Savior, just as a stable was chosen over a palace. Thomas was chosen in his brokenness not because of merit, but because of grace. The snow slowed. The city seemed quieter now, as if creation itself was listening. Jesus stood and offered his hand. Come, he said. Christmas is the reminder that no matter how far you have wandered, God has already come looking for you. When Thomas reached out, warmth filled him completely, not the warmth of comfort alone, but of purpose. He understood then that salvation was not merely escape from hardship, but restoration of identity. Jesus did not promise wealth or ease. He promised presence. I am with you always, he said, echoing the promise given to the world after resurrection. When the bells rang again, Jesus was gone. But Thomas was not alone. Something within him had been reborn. The night was still cold, but it no longer owned him. He stood steadier than before, aware that Christmas had become personal. It was no longer a story of long ago. It was a living truth. That night, Thomas did not suddenly become rich or free from struggle, but he became anchored. He found his way to a shelter, then to a church, then to a community that reminded him daily of God's faithfulness. Over time, his story became one he shared with others, the homeless, the forgotten, the desperate. He told them not of angels or miracles alone, but of a Savior who enters suffering quietly and stays. This is the meaning of Christmas. Not lights without darkness, but light within it. Not joy without pain, but joy born through it. Jesus did not come to admire humanity from a distance. He came to redeem it from within. He chose a manger so no one would think themselves too low to be reached. He chose poverty so no one would think wealth was required to be loved. He chose humanity so humanity could be restored. And every Christmas night, whether the world remembers or not, heaven still declares the same message spoken over Bethlehem. To you is born this day a Savior, not to the deserving, not to the strong, but to the poor in spirit, the weary, the forgotten. Christmas is the proof that God enters the coldest places of the human heart and builds a home there. For, in Jesus Christ, hope was not merely promised, it was born.